Hello Cowboys Nation, welcome to another video, and without further ado, let's get to another round of news from America's team. Cowboys predicted to cut ties with interesting veteran after preseason finale. Well, that's a wrap. The Cowboys have finished off their 2024 preseason and have, unfortunately, left many questions still unanswered. Star receiver CeeDee Lamb is still a holdout. Quarterback and MVP candidate Dak Prescott does not have a new contract and could be careening toward 2025 free agency. And we still have no clue what the Cowboys' ground game will look like in the coming months. Maybe we do. It will be a committee, which means it probably won't be all that effective. 3 preseason games gave us no clarity on how that committee will shake out, with the finale against the Chargers not doing much to solidify the picture. Ezekiel Elliott will be grandfathered into the RB1 role because of his history with the Cowboys. Rico Dowdle showed promise last year and could eat into Elliott's carries as the season goes on. After that, Malik Davis, Deuce Vaughn, Royce Freeman, Snoop Conner and Nathaniel Peete all got carries on Saturday. It's likely that 2 from that group, plus fullback Hunter Luepke, will remain on the 53-man roster. Conner and Peete are probably headed to the practice squad, if they stay in Dallas at all. And, from the perspective of ESPN, the guy tabbed to be the odd man out will be free agent signee Royce Freeman, who tallied 8 carries for 35 yards against the Chargers. Shortly after the end of the Chargers-Cowboys game, ESPN's Cowboys beat man Todd Archer predicted the 53-man roster, and had the special teams/excitability aspects of Davis and Vaughn being just enough to help them beat out Freeman for a spot on the roster. Veteran Royce Freeman gets caught in a numbers game here. He is similar in style to Elliott, so the replication of skills isn't needed as much. Davis has had an excellent summer and can be a core special teamer. It's on the coaches to come up with a package for Vaughn to make his roster spot worth it, Archer wrote. Indeed, the 4th spot will come down to Freeman, a traditional bruiser of a back with a style similar to that of today's Elliott, and Vaughn, the diminutive, 5'5", scat back who can ignite plays in the preseason but who might well be too small to warrant a week-to-week role on this roster. Cowboys finally express concern over CeeDee Lamb holdout. Week 1 is quickly approaching and the Dallas Cowboys still don't have superstar wide receiver CeeDee Lamb in their building. Lamb missed all of the preseason holding out for a new contract. The sides appear to be getting closer to an agreement, but the clock is ticking. I think there's urgency on both sides. Just once again, this is business, Cowboys coach Mike McCarthy said on Saturday, August 24th. What goes on there is really between the individuals in the room. But yes, I think everybody involved wants to get it done. Lamb has been preparing on his own for the season. The team is confident that he'll be in shape when he returns, but plans need to be put in place to ensure Lamb is ready to roll for the opening kickoff, if a deal gets done. You got to have a healthy plan. Yeah, definitely, some concern, McCarthy said. We've got to be smart there and just use good judgment. And that'll be the case. But yeah, I think it's just the reality of where we are. So, we'll deal with it one day at a time. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones unwilling to give update on CeeDee Lamb. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones has given sporadic updates on the contract talks with Lamb, often expressing optimism. However, his tone changed on Sunday when asked about his Lamb. I don't have any updates, but we are near the season starting, Jones said. Listen, we got a lot of things to talk about. I'm only talking about who's here. The Cowboys have called the negotiations with Lamb challenging, pointing out that they're also trying to get deals done with Dak Prescott and star linebacker Micah Parsons. All 3 will likely become the highest-paid players at their positions on their new deals. We're trying to, a little bit, play Houdini in how to keep all these guys around Dak and keep these players we were fortunate enough to draft, Jones said on the Snoop City podcast in July. When you start stacking them up like that, it's a challenge. Not that it's not doable, but you certainly have to have some give and take if you want to do that. There's no excuses, but we think we can get this done. We know we can get it done. It just takes time. Lamb finished last season with a league-high 135 receptions for 1,749 yards and 12 touchdowns. Cowboys tabbed logical trade partner for $44 million. Jets wide receiver. Entering the 2024 season, there is still far too much that remains unknown about the Cowboys receiver crew to be all that comfortable. CeeDee Lamb is a holdout, and in need of a new contract, an issue that loomed over the team's training camp and preseason more than any other, even more than the Dak Prescott situation. Lamb has not practiced with the team at all since the 2023 season and playoffs ended. Maybe the one known quantity is Brandon Cooks, the 31-year-old veteran who will slot in as the Cowboys' number 2. After that, it's still an open competition. Third-year man Jalen Tolbert, who showed some flashes in 2023, appears to have the inside track on the role of number 3 in the Cowboys' offense. Normally, the Cowboys could get by without significant contributions from that spot, but given the fact that Lamb probably won't be fully in shape and at max production until we get to week 3 or 4, no matter how it is glossed over, camp holdouts almost always start slow, the number 3 role could be of added importance. And rather than leave it to a wild card like Tolbert, ESPN has a suggestion: the Cowboys should go and get veteran Allen Lazard of the Jets. Allen Lazard played for Mike McCarthy, briefly. That's the thought from longtime insider Bill Barnwell, who wrote in an article titled, NFL Trade Candidates, Players Who Could Change Teams Before Deadline, that Lazard would make sense as a Cowboys target in the coming weeks, citing the brief time he spent with the Packers when Mike McCarthy was coach as one reason. He noted, Lazard originally joined the Packers during Mike McCarthy's final year with the franchise in 2018, so while there wasn't much crossover between the two, there's at least some level of familiarity. The Cowboys also need depth at wide receiver after cutting Michael Gallup. Their top 2 starters are in the midst of a holdout, CeeDee Lamb, and battling a sore knee, Brandon Cooks. Acknowledging that the Jets would again be eating a significant portion of the deal, a fresh start for Lazard would make sense for both sides.